not right with it. It is still working, but something is not right. Maybe it would be good to stop this machine, send a specialist, and check if everything is okay. And here is my question to you. What is the largest dairy products company in your area? Somebody give me a name of dairy products company which is not Amul. Who you buy butter from?
Britannia, Amul.
Okay, Britannia and Amul. Okay, thank you. So we have Britannia and Amul. Now, I have been in an Amul factory in Anand in Gujarat. And they had this line to produce butter. And all the machines, I think, were either Sweden or Germany. Let's say that they were from Germany. So you have all those German machines that are producing butter in Amul in Anand. And then someplace close to you, in Kanpur, let's say there is a Britannia dairy product facility that also produces butter. Now, if I have only Amul from Anand data, my model will be not general enough, maybe. So what I can do is now, we cannot take data from Britannia in Kanpur and from Amul in Anand, because if we share this data, then the competition will learn about what's happening in our factory. And we don't want this. So what we do? Well, we make an agreement in which we will be sharing, if we have the same machines, we will be sharing the data about various sensors like vibration, sound, whatever. And we will be building this joint model that will be used by Britannia here and here. Well, for you, it's going to be the other way around, because here is Gujarat, is Anand, here is Kanpur. The data will be shared, the model will be shared, but the data will not. Pharmaceutical companies, there is this Melody platform, which apparently will take data from the largest of largest drug companies for drug discovery. So Amgen, AstraZeneca, Merck, Novartis, GlaxoSmithKline, Bayer, they will be sharing models that they will use for drug discovery, not sharing data. And by the way, they will be running on NVIDIA hardware. Medical research examples. For instance, federated learning for healthcare IoT devices. Here, they were doing arrhythmia prediction, and they found out that by using federated learning, there was 2% performance decrease, but they could save 90% of network traffic, which is important in hospitals. There was encephalogram, and again, personal data protection. And what you have here is 63% efficiency, which is not good, but the best without federated learning was 66% prediction, correct. So the drop was around 3% due to federated learning, and the gain is prevention from private data discovery. Here, those guys from Korea were doing some benchmarking for federated learning. They were using Mimic3 dataset from a medical center for 40,000 patients. And they did variety of experiments, and they were getting performance at 89 to 95%. So it was not bad. Okay, interesting work. Now, in the context of federated learning, one of the very interesting research areas is data which is not well balanced. And here, okay, in standard machine learning, data may not be balanced because it is not balanced, okay? Because people with some specific kind of skin disease, there may be, I don't know, out of 1,000, there may be one person. So even if I have 10,000, I have only 10 people who have this disease. Data is not balanced. But look, I may have data that is totally balanced in its, if the data was all together, then the data would be balanced. But the data is not together. Think about simple example. Kangaroos live in Australia, or koala bears live in Australia. So let's say that I have the data set that has 100 images of kangaroos, 100 images of koala, and 100 images of Bengali tigers, and 100 images of the crazy little monkeys that are living in Gujarat by the temples, and they are like running around and asking for food. Look, in Australia, they will have in the node, Australian node, they will have koalas and kangaroos. In the node located in India, you will have animals that live in India. Now look, each animal will have 100 images. So if we had all those images together, then the data is perfectly balanced, but it is not perfectly balanced because you have different availability of this data. Okay, so this is one of examples of data being non-IID, and this is like a dramatically serious problem, because the fact that you do federated learning is introducing this new dimension of data heterogeneity, which is not about the data itself, but it is about the federated learning. Here, one of the ways of handling this is you take an open source data set like ImageNet, and you initialize your model on ImageNet, and you add ImageNet data to each one of the local servers. But this, of course, is no longer actually pure federated learning. This is something else. You can use this mediator things. Here you can see the idea. The idea is that if we have here triangles, squares, stars, and rhomboids in different colors, and if we combine them first using a mediator, then it balances together similar to this data. So the data between mediators and federated learning servers is already better balanced. Now, if you want to do some research on federated learning, there are open source platforms. There is Fate, there is TensorFlow Federator, and there is PySift. They have various characteristics. They are being updated. This I need to check, by the way, because maybe there are already new versions of those. But they have it. The problem is that they are not really for distributed. It's more with having on a single machine or in a cluster running those federated learning. So this is really federated learning without federated learning. Here, there is a platform which is named SundayFL that my team is slowly developing, and I can say if you join us, we will be glad to work with you on progressing with SundayFL. And SundayFL is more towards research with actual federation, with splittings and so on. So You can do various things with it. It is not very good platform yet, but if we work together, we can get it better. So in summary, federated learning is very important. It is important because it is responding to the need of the world, where the need of the world is that we need to introduce federated learning where there are multiple owners of data and data cannot be shared. Overall, if any one of you is into machine learning for medical applications, federated learning is absolutely fantastic for the medical because you can train things without sharing private, sensitive medical data. By the way, it is not necessarily about neural networks. Any machine learning approach that can be distributed can be used as federated learning. By the way, this is area extremely rich in open research questions. This piece here from arXiv, this has 110 pages of research description, a description state of the art and research areas. It's an extremely valuable piece of reading. If you are like young researcher, this is the first thing to do. And if we work together, we can do federated learning. So if you would like to contact me, find me on LinkedIn. You just put my name and there is only one Marcin Paprzycki on LinkedIn. You can email me. Here is the email. You can find me in Google Scholar, by the way. But I would like also to tell you that there is this conference, which is an IEEE conference. It is Scopus. It's ranked B in Australian core ranking. It is going this year to be hybrid. It's going to be physically in Sofia, Bulgaria in September, but it's going to be also online available. And this is a very competitive conference. This is why it's ranked B in core ranking. Maybe worth it trying to see if your work will fit into what we are doing. It has a lot of areas which you can contribute. And I think that any research that comes to this conference, your conference could be also of interest to FedSys. We named this conference FedSys. So FedSys.org is the website of the conference. You may want to go there. Remember, it is Scopus, which I know that in India is extremely important to be Scopus. Okay, so I am now here. I see that there was a recording done, so you can find all the references that you need from the recording. This is all that I wanted to share with you at this moment. And here I am. Any questions?
Do you want to ask any question? Okay, sir. Thank you for enlightening us about federated learning. I'm sure that your lecture will open up new research areas for many of us, and we will look forward to have you with your wife physically in our university in near future. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again for joining with us.
Subhadra, I'm just waiting for email from you with research ideas that we can do together. Namaste.
Okay. Namaste, sir. Namaste.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. So now I would like to welcome Professor Akilesh Sharma from Manipal University, Jaipur. So Dr. Akilesh K. Sharma is working as professor in the Department of Information Technology at Manipal University, Jaipur. He teaches data mining, machine learning, software engineering, DBMS, data structure at UG and PG level. His area of research includes data analytics, machine learning, big data, machine learning in health sector, data science, classification and clustering schemes. Also completed project namely assistive vehicle for PH and elderly people. He has published various research papers in peer-reviewed international journals and attended various international conferences. He granted 6 patents and 4 copyrights in total. He has good experience in MOU planning, collaborations, and internationalization. He is currently Secretary ACM Jaipur Professional Chapter, Rajasthan, and Senior Member of IEEE and ACM. So, sir, I would like to welcome you. And would you like to say something to encourage our students, our participants?
Yeah, hi, good morning and good afternoon to all of you who are there in various part of the country and the world. And this is very great occasion to hear from such good authors and keynotes from various parts of the world. And thank you for inviting me. And we can start the session now. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, sir. So before starting the session, I would like to inform that all the participants will get 10 minutes time, 7 minutes for presentation and 3 minutes for question answer. So, and our respected judges can stop in between if they want. So now we are going to start with the first paper presentation. Paper ID 4. Are you available with us? May I know? The paper title is Predictive Maintenance of Computerized Numerical Control Machine Using IoT and Neural Network. So, are you available right now? Okay, then I'm going to next paper ID 06. Pradeep Singh Chauhan. Yes. So, the paper title is Power Flow Optimization using MFO to reduce energy losses. Authors are Pradeep Singh Chauhan, Akash Soni, Khushbu Sharma, and Arindam Singha. So I can see that Pradeep is with us. So Pradeep,
Ma'am, actually, I need some time to connect,
you are connected right now, isn't it?
but it's in the phone. I can't share my screen. My all present is in my laptop, ma'am.
Okay.
Let me connect my laptop first, okay?
Okay.
Just a minute. I'm trying to connect, ma'am.
So
Actually, I was about to connect at 3:50. That till I am watching all the session on the mobile.
okay. Actually, we have informed about the flexibility anyway.
Okay, ma'am.
In between,
I'm
let me
trying.
see whether paper ID 08 is available or not with us.
Yes,
Meena
ma'am.
Tiwari.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
are
I'm
you
here.
ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then. Then we are going with Meena Tiwari right now. Pradeep, be ready. After that, we will call you. Okay.
Good
So,
afternoon.
yes, let me tell the title. A comparative study of multi-algorithmic and multimodal approaches. Authors are Meena Tiwari and Ashish Mishra. So, Meena, it's your time.
First of all, good afternoon to all chairpersons of TEEETAS 2022 and all participants.
Please turn on your camera.
Okay. Good afternoon to all of you.
Good afternoon.
I'm Meena Tiwari, PhD scholar in SRK University, CSA department, and my guide name is Dr. Ashish Mishra. Today I am presented here my top paper, which is I'm sharing my screen. Just a moment. It is visible, ma'am.
No, not now. Not visible, Meena.
Just a second, ma'am. Now, ma'am,
No.
it is visible.
No, no, no. Yes, yes, now it's visible.
Okay. This is my title, A Comparative Study of Multi-Algorithmic and Multimodal Approaches. I'm presented. My name is Meena Tiwari, which is Research Scholar, CSA Department, SRK University, Bhopal. Now I'm telling you about my paper. Business applications rely on biometrics because the use of biometric is an
Please start the slideshow.
Okay.
Press F5
Yes.
or click on slideshow.
Okay, ma'am. This is the introduction and paper. Multimodal biometrics alluded to the utilization of applying of at any rate to biometric modalities in an affirmation qualification testing structure. The trademark test that depends on various biometric information trends to an arising design. The most interesting inspiration of linking the various modalities is a higher level of validation. There are different ideas to combine two biometric data. One is that certain biometric methods may be more appropriate for different applications. Another classifications is mainly customer trends. The multimodal biometric system is associated with at least one sensor that measure at least two important biometric credit modalities and a biometric constant framework. Operates in two modes, registration and verification. In the selection mode, the customer biometric data is obtained through a biometric filter and stored in the information index. The most interesting inspiration for linking the various modalities is the higher level of validation. The multi-modal biometric system is associated with at least one sensor that measure at least two important biometric credit modalities. The multi-algorithmic biometric framework eliminates single sensor mapping and works in conjunction with this model with two unique calculations. With the objective of my paper to study the multi-model and multi-algorithmic approaches. Multi-modal transport reliably gives ideal outcomes over different algorithms for claims of a similar approach or estimation. Here are some literature reviews which I uses. And here are the research methodology which I applied. Sensor level blend and a blending of data from biometric sensor. Sensor जो use कर रहे हैं उसके can include level mix and blending of different components vectors, score level mix and the accompanying things, score coordination, different biometric systems. Then a mix of dynamic degrees of decisions recently made by a solitary system in our test. We considered the palm and face designs and acknowledged the score level blend since it gives the best rate of between the information and is easy to execute. Then this is the result of research topic. Sorry for my paper. To consider multi-algorithmic and multimodal approaches. Use energetically accessible massive information base, namely polyUPAM, training set for printing AR-based training set to display rating for all of our primers is determined by 0.1%. False acceptance rate, accurate acceptance rate. We first evaluated the result of each system by performing unconventional subset equivalence, namely PCA, FLD, ICA, and the results are shown in this table. This is the results of our search. And these are the methods which we are used. This is the graphic presentation of my result. Here, the blue lines are phase PCA plus ICA, which is ICA independent component analysis, and here show the FLD through the yellow line. The data was little bit noisy, that why these lines are combined. Here the multi-model approaches, its results. Yes. Now the conclusion. It presents an independent and a relative study of the multimodal and multi-algorithmic approach in the context of the research effects of both systems. We assert that the implementation of a robust multimodal approach will lead to results that are preferable to a multimodal philosophy. Likewise, in view of our test outcomes, we track down accompanying additional information constantly gives spatial outcomes over helpful information, and combining the best blend of calculations assumes a huge part in multi-algorithmic procedures as opposed to the quantity of consolidated calculations. The presentation of consumption is continually reliant upon the strategy. By and large, multimodal transport reliably gives ideal outcomes over different algorithmic parallels of a similar approach estimation. These are the references which I used.
Okay, Meena. So I request Akilesh sir, would you like to ask any questions to Meena?
Yeah, it's fine. Meena, some suggestions are there for you, some observations from this presentation. Don't go
Yes,
with
sir.
the detailed content in the some of the slides are having very much detailed contents. Use the
Okay.
bullet points and then you able to explain the points only. And if somebody else is having some points, they can suggest her. Otherwise, we can go for the next presentation. Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, sir. So I hope Pradeep, you are ready now. Paper
Yes,
ID 06. 06.
ma'am.
Huh,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
Pradeep, you can continue with your paper. Power flow optimization using MFO to reduce energy losses. And Pradeep Singh Chauhan is going to present.
Let me share my screen here.
Yes.
Is my screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, Pradeep.
Okay, just a minute. Okay. So hello everyone, myself Pradeep Singh Chan, MTech scholar from the Rajasthan Institute of Engineering and Technology, Jaipur. Today I am going to present my presentation on power flow optimization using mouth flame optimization to reduce the energy losses in the power system. So here the content, we will start from the introduction, then we will go for the literature review. After that, we will find what's the objective we have focusing on. Then we will find which methodology we are working on. Then we find some results and we'll go for some discussion on the results. Then what conclusion we had, and that's the references. Okay. So first, now start with the introduction. So earlier, the power generation was mainly controlled by the centralized power plant. Only a centralized power plant was responsible to generate the power, generate the electricity, and it will distribute it via transmission and distribution network to the geographical situation consumer. कहीं भी कोई कंज्यूमर कहीं भी हो, अपन के पास एक सेंट्रलाइज पावर प्लांट होता है, वहीं से अपन पावर को सप्लाई करते थे. But sometimes we have some face problem when we get the blackout in between the network or in the power system. So the consumer will get affected by this disconnection. So in today, in additional to centralized power plant, we introduce a distributed generator which provide a large portion of power production. Such the distributed generator are comparatively small in size, and we can place it to the near to the consumer. So if we place distributed generator near to the consumer, the transmission line would be shorter and we can reduce some losses, which would be I square R, because R will be less for the less distance. Also, the distributed generator are mostly utilizing the renewable energy for electricity generation. Now, when we combine all the distribution generator, we will call it a microgrid. So microgrid offers a method of combining distributed generator of various technology. That would be a power voltaic, photos, wind, biomass, fuel cell, solar, etc., and various varieties like environment dependency, response time to function in a complementary way to increase overall utility performance. So here we can see the scenario of microgrid. We can see this black side, left side of my hand is my centralized power system, which is connected to the microgrid via on and off switch. So the microgrid is the microgrid producing energy from solar, wind, fuel cell, etc., etc. Also, it is connected to the other microgrid too. So all the microgrids are connected. All the microgrid are interconnected to each other. So if the central unit as well as the microgrid will get blackout, then consumer will never be affected because he will get supply from other microgrid, and the microgrid supplying power to the weather forecasting, energy market, the building, the electric vehicle charging, etc., etc. So here the advantage of microgrid. Now, the microgrid has some features which make it smart enough, which is customer friendly. Customer friendly, I believe that it is the feature which should have a primary feature of every technology. Like it should be like we can't expect that the customer will be smart enough to understand the technology. We always consider that customer will never understand any technology. He will only use as a normal way, and that will not interrupt any functionality of the technology. Like suppose अगर हम ATM में जाते हैं, तो हम एटीएम मशीन में जब ये एक्सपेक्ट नहीं कर सकते कि जो कंज्यूमर है, जो अपना वो कस्टमर है जो एटीएम से पैसे निकालने आता है, तो वो जब पैसे निकालेगा तो वो सारी चीजें राइट करेगा, कोई राइट की दबाएगा तभी होगा, अदरवाइज अगर वो कोई गलत चीज दबा देता है तो अपना जो एटीएम होगा वो ब्लॉक हो जाएगा। ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए। हम ये हमेशा मान के जाएंगे कि कस्टमर को कुछ नहीं आता, और कस्टमर अगर रॉन्ग पुट करेगा तो उसको पैसे नहीं मिलेंगे, वो वापस से राइट चीजें पुट करेगा तो उसको आउटपुट मिल जाएगा। तो कस्टमर फ्रेंडली होना बहुत ही जरूरी है। द सेकंड थिंग इज सेल्फ हीलिंग। द पावर सिस्टम शुड बी सेल्फ हीलिंग। वी विल go for in further study, we will understand that we also use multi-agent system, where this is a multi-agent system is a super visionary element which will connect to each other to self-heal the complete network. Also, it should be a resilient attacker. It should be a deliver power quality, permit marketplace. It has to enhance possession and operate proficiently, and competency to control entire production and strong decisions. Now, multi-agent system. Multi-agent system, as I said before, it is a smart supervisory arrangement which contains several agents that can interact and communicate to each other, hold a high degree of independence, and have a competency to make decisions autonomously or collaborate to complete aims locally. These arrangements are flexible to numerous structural situations and are intended to have momentous flexible space. Thus, frequent studies have fixed all the multi-agent system will study very frequently on the uses of multi-agent system in management of microgrid. In this content, the microgrid management and real-time scheduling can be done by optimal way and intelligent storage system at distributed level. Now, there are some problems we have faced in the microgrid, which is a bidirectional power flow. As we know, the power always flow from the high voltage level to low voltage level, and our microgrid is connected one side from the centralized unit and another side from the consumer. So if anyhow the voltage level of the centralized unit will be low, the power will start flowing from the microgrid to centralized power, which is not appreciable, and it causes a reverse power flow that may lead to complication in protection, coordination, undesirable power flow pattern, fault current distribution, and voltage control. So the first problem is a bidirectional power flow. The second problem is the stability issue. Interconnection between control system of distribution generator unit may cause some local oscillation requiring through a small distribution stability analysis. We should have a stability analysis that will minimize the stability issue in this microgrid. The third problem is a modeling, and every time we have to enhance our model. Like if we take an example of the farming, if we take a traditional farming and today's farming, we can analyze a huge technology difference between both. Also the production difference too, because in the traditional farming there is no any technology they have used for farming, but now they enhance their model, and now they are getting very very good production. So similarly in our power system we have to continuously revise our model to make our microgrid smart enough. And the fourth thing is the uncertainty. The operation of microgrid involves addressing such uncertainty, which is something the economical and reliable operation of microgrid relies on. This load uncertainty is higher than those in bulk power system due to reduced number of loads and high correlation, variation in available energy resources. Now what the research gap? Most of the research are done on the power system normalization, and due to large scale of the power system management of the renewable energy, they don't get stability, which produce problem in handle energy management in the large scale. They can't handle all the management in the large frame. And the second problem, we get different control processes are function. There are different control processes are function in this domain, but not able to achieve good precision for the management of tolerance in the power system. And the third problem is a voltage instability. There is lots of voltage instability which can degrade the system due to improper management of the load in the power system. Now the problem, what is the problem actually? Load in power system increase risk. When we connect the load, the power system will be under risk. in the power system, due to which there are lots of fluctuation. When we connected a load, the supply is start flowing, and because of the location of the load, there should be a voltage fluctuation in as per the voltage locality. So when the lots of fluctuation in the alternating current to generate renewable energy sources, the big problem in maintaining various load and tolerance, electric load need to connect into the system which is responsible to creating a sinusoidal current at the same frequency as the voltage, but not in the phase. The renewable and energy management system are really getting affected due to low fault tolerance, which is responsible to make system less adaptable and accurate. So an efficient approach is needed to achieve good management of the power system and perform evaluation to reduce the losses in the distributed power system. Now, this is a literature survey. There are some literature survey I included there, which is related to our work. Now, what the objectives? The objective is to study the various techniques used for the renewable energy resource management system and their consequences to achieve low
Pradeep,
losses.
you are going out of time. Please be fast.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Come to your research directly.
Okay. Ma'am, just I complete the objective, then I come to research.
Okay.
So the main objective is our total implementation in on the powerful optimization using the moth flame optimization. Our all focus on the moth flame optimization. By the moth flame optimization, we just influenced by the moth and flame, and we just implemented this method to our power system. So what the moth flame optimization? It's a navigation process. Suppose if we have to go from Delhi to Mumbai, there are several ways we can go via Bangalore, via Delhi, via Chandigarh, then Jaipur, then Mumbai. Also, we can go for the Pachim Bengal, West Bengal, and then Odisha and Vaishu. But we will always choose the optimal way, which will be less in the distance, also less for our cost. Cost of like financially, it will less financially, right? So the moth always find a better way to reach the flame. Similarly, we will find the best way to supply our power from centralized unit, or we can say microgrid, to the consumer. So it will always use a less power loss. Now the results we have gotten, there is we can see the results in here. This MATLAB simulation. Here we can see three lines. One is black, one is blue, and the third one is red. The black one is a traditional line, and the blue is the actual power, and the dotted red one is the scheduled with moth flame optimization. As we can see, the actual power and the schedule with moth flame optimization is same at starting point, but at the peak point, we can say actual power is more than the schedule with the moth flame optimization. So when we use moth flame optimization, we can save some power, which could be like you can see the difference between the blue line and the red line in the peak of the graph. So it's a loss which we can save via the moth flame optimization. This is the result of a solar plant. Similarly, there is also there at the top there is some difference between the actual line and the moth flame optimization scheduling. So also we can save this loss too. This graph is related to wind power. This is the total power graph, total output. Also, the pink line is show the total power. The blue one show the battery. Black one show the fuel cell. Red shows the wind, and blue shows the power voltage. That could be a solar. Now, this is the total generation power compare with the traditional power. As we can say, every time in every slope, every graph, we can see the traditional power is greater than the moth flame optimization power. So we are very clear after seeing this. We are very clear we can saving so much energy, which is we already wasting as a losses. Now this is a conclusion. This is a conclusion. The conclusion is about the multi-agent system. Multi-agent system is characterized by a special ability to fix difficulty in dynamic distribution, complex and unpredictable event. So multi-agent system is a very smart system which can fix any problem which can always up to date our system with either in the normal or abnormal condition. Also, within the study, multi-agent system implemented efficiently for advanced energy management in microgrid. Beginning from theory proved to practical implemented in the region, the MOF concept is derived by the most natural navigation approach while traveling in the dark. So as we can say, when we will include both mode frame optimization plus multi-agent system, the system will be very smart, and it every time is focusing on if the power is wasting or not wasting. If it is going any power loss, extra wasting, we will focus on this, we will analyze it, and we will try to overcome the losses. Here are the references I included related this work. Thank
Okay,
you.
Pradeep. Akilesh, sir, do you want to ask anything?
Yes, any validation you have done, Pradeep ji?
Like validation, like sir, can you explain me something? Which
Like,
validation?
have you validated your results?
Sir, MATLAB.
Okay, MATLAB. Okay, okay, fine. Yes, madam. Next presentation.
Okay, sir. So next is Kashish Madan and her team, paper ID 04.
Hi everyone. I would request Tarang Goel from my team to share the presentation. Then we'll start.
Yeah, I'll just share my.
So please take care of the time, okay? You are given 10 minutes, 7 minutes for presentation and 3 minutes for question answer session.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Tarang. A very good afternoon to all the people present here on the call today. My name is Kashish Madan, and I am here along with my team members, Jatin, Tarang, Ayush, to present a research paper titled Predictive Maintenance of Computerized Numerical Control Machine using IoT and Neural Networks. Tarang, next slide, please. The agenda for this presentation is as follows. We'll start with the introduction, we'll move forward to the hardware and software setup, and then we'll cover the conclusion part. Now the introduction. So in industries, especially automotive sector, which is known to have huge equipments and machineries, so these machines have approximately a life of over 40 years, like 20 to 30 or 40 years. Hence, maintenance is a key area to avoid these losses. One way is to use a scheduled maintenance, which means that we have a machinery, say bi-weekly, weekly, or monthly. We have a scheduled maintenance going on, and the operators of this machine try to maintain a schedule to have the machine equipment tested. Now, however, this type of maintenance is not the ideal one in the case of machine failures, which occur in between this time period. Predictive maintenance is another mechanism which we can use to avoid these losses that might occur due to unexpected failures. So our project is basically aiming towards getting those real-time values for that particular machine. Here for this project, we have focused on computerized numerical control machines, but this project can be extended to other machines also. So these real-time values can be used as a data set for a machine learning algorithm, which will try to predict the health of the machine and thereby predicting when the next maintenance is scheduled. Tara, next slide. So the objective for this particular project is that we try to create that particular prototype to showcase that if we have a computerized numerical control machine, we try to collect real-time values and then we try to predict when the machine is about to fail. This project currently aims to create a prototype for this one, which can be extended later on. Next slide.
Yeah. So now I'll take forward. So since Kashish told about that, we'll be working on a CNC machine to collect the data. So as we all are aware that CNC machines are not smart enough to acquire or to send the data to our circuit. Hence, for that, to solve that issue, we have created a build or prototype using IoT with multiple sensors to acquire the real-time data from the CNC machine. In the next step, we have done data such as current, temperature, and vibration is collected from the real-time data with the help of our IoT circuit, and then it is sent to the mobile app through a Bluetooth module, which is inbuilt in our IoT circuit. Finally, we'll reach to the next step, which is the last step of the circuit, which is when the data is sent to the mobile app, it is then processed and analyzed using a machine learning or the training module, and which will help us to predict the next predicted failure and notify the user or the employee. So now, as you can see, this is the hardware prototype or the IoT prototype that we have created, in which we have used a breadboard using the Arduino Uno, in this breadboard, we have connected multiple sensors. In the middle of the screen, we can see the vibration sensor. In the rightmost, we can see the temperature sensor, that is the thermistor that we've used. And in the leftmost of the breadboard, we have used the current sensor, that is the ACS 712 sensor. And in this circuit, we have also used a Bluetooth module, which will help us to collect our real-time data from these all sensors with the help of Bluetooth module, and then which will help us to send it to a mobile app and then to the machine learning module. As you can see in the circuit that this is a blue light that has been flashed on. This is because of the vibration sensor, which is turned on when the vibration occurs. So now we'll move to the next.
So coming to our solution, our first step is acquisition and pre-processing of data. So from the sensor, the real-time values which are coming forward, we will try to figure out what all are the healthy operations and faulty operations. So our next step is to pre-process the data before executing it to our algorithm in order to check missing values, noisy data, and the other inconsistencies present in our data. So next slide.
Yeah.
So the next step is to identify the condition indicators, features whose behavior changes in a predictable way as the system degrades. So we have used these features to discriminate between healthy operations and faulty operations. As we can see in the graph, this circle represent the peak frequencies which act as the condition indicators. Now then we will analyze this data using our machine learning model. And for this particular project, we have used the activation function, which is rectified linear unit ReLU, as it is the most commonly used activation function in the neural networks. So next. Jatin, you're on mute.
Sorry. So as explained by Ayush, we're using ReLU as our activation function. And our data has been split into two parts, 80% for the training, 20% for the testing of the model. And we have also shuffled the data so that the training is more efficient and the observation that we get out of that training set can be used in a better way. Next. So as you can see, this is the, we have run 250 epochs, that is 250 rounds of the training. And as the number of epochs increases, the loss decreases and the accuracy of the model increases. Next. So in conclusion, we can see the error rate is 2.38%, which is to calculate the lifespan of the CNC machine decreased. So we can conclude this that it is possible to increase the lifespan of a CNC machine by analyzing their real-time behavior and using machine learning and using ReLU network model. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Akilesh, sir, would you like to ask something?
Yes, very good presentation. Congratulations, students. And I just wanted to know if you have implemented this project or is it working correctly?
Yes, sir. It's in a working state. So the IoT circuit is currently not assembled for us. Like we tried to click a picture and we created the prototype and then we dismantled it. But for the machine learning model, we have it running. And also like in the further cases, we try to discuss this with different companies as well. One of them was Bristlecone. So we tried to get an internship on the basis of this project. So we created a research paper on that.
Yeah, that's good. So you can go for the patents or the copyrights for this project as well, and try to incubate some DST like sort of funding agencies so you can get some funds available and then you can do some more research work. Yeah.
Sure, sir.
Sure, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kashish and
Thank you, ma'am.
her team. Good presentation. Next is paper ID 13, Arpit Lamba, Romit Bhalla. Are you present? Arpit? No. Okay, paper ID 15, Abhijit Mankar. Abhijit? Abhijit, can you hear me?
Yes, madam. I am present.
Okay, yes. Then please share your PPT and start presenting.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
And you have 7 minutes for presentation.
Okay, madam. Thank you. Is it visible, madam?
No, not now. Yes, now it's visible.
Okay, madam. Thank you. Good afternoon, respected session chair, respected session moderator, technical program chair, respected research guides and friends. Myself, Abhijit Mankar, is giving presentation on review of literature on recursive partitioning and its applications in various areas. Prediction is one of the most dominant challenges in data analysis, and it is required in almost every walk of life. The prediction is also some kind of decision, and it should be possible to use tree structures to represent prediction models. And there has been significant research in this field. In this paper, we discuss the various approaches used in recursive partitioning, and also the features of these approaches and the terms used are discussed. The application areas of recursive partitioning are categorized into different sectors based on its use is discussed in this paper. To begin with,
Abhijit, please turn on your camera and start the slideshow also.
Okay, okay. Is it visible, man?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Video, my video?
Yes, yes, both are
Okay,
visible.
okay, madam. Thank you. So to begin with, the first algorithm is AID algorithm, automated interaction detection, and it explains about the interaction among variables. And this algorithm is related with regression. Gordon Cass proposed CHAID in his research during his PhD. He proposed CHAID, and it is used for classification. It uses chi-square test. And later on in 1984, Leo Bremen and others proposed CARD algorithm, and it follows the greedy search approach, and it is used for both classification and regression purpose. ID3 algorithm was proposed by Ross Quinlan, and it restricts up to 2 classes for any induction task, and it is used for classification. It uses entropy and information gain. Then in 1988, Low and Vanich Setakul proposed FACT algorithm for classification. It uses LDA and ANOVA. Then in 1993, Quinlan proposed C4.5, which is an improvement on ID3 algorithm, and it is used for classification. And it allows more than two splits. C5.0 is a further enhancement over C4.5 in terms of speed. Also, the decision trees which are generated in C5.0 are smaller as compared to C4.5. Then SLEEK algorithm was proposed by Mehta Agarwal and Risanen, which can handle both categorical and numeric variables. And importantly, SLEEK is able to scale for large data sets and classify data sets with large number of classes, variables, and examples. Then Quest was proposed by Low and Shea for classification, and it uses binary splitting, and it avoids bias in splitting. And in 2000, Rastogi and Shim proposed public algorithm for classification. Kim and Low in 2001 proposed Cruz algorithm for classification, and in this algorithm multiple splits are possible, and it further avoids bias in splitting, and it uses chi-square test. Low proposed guide in 2009, and it is used for both purposes like classification and regression, and it uses binary splitting, and it avoids bias in splitting, and it uses chi-square test. And the paper written by V and Low in 2014 titled 50 years of classification and regression trees gives a glimpse of the research of in the past 50 years in the field of classification and regression trees. Now we have categorized the papers that we have reviewed in this review article in 16 different application areas. So to begin with, diagnostic analysis. So there are, we refer some papers. One is related with the tumor classification with gene expression. And the authors have analyzed the data set from expression profile of 2000 genes in 22 normal and 40 colon cancer tissues. And the authors have used classification tree in this paper. The second paper that we referred is hip fracture prediction. And in this, the authors used 43 predictive variables to construct the classification rules. And they have proposed a modified approach to recursive partitioning algorithm. And they are calling it as a robust and cost-saving tree. So that is abbreviated as RACT. Then next paper is related with the mammography screening guidelines. So in this, the authors have chosen 22 candidate predictors to examine regarding to commitment to screening guidelines, and they have used CART method for this purpose. Next one is related with the chemotherapy response. So the purpose of this study was to compare LRM and recursive partitioning to predict chemotherapy response in breast cancer related patients. Now, LRM model, which was developed by the authors, is based on 5 variables, whereas the recursive partitioning model is based on 4 variables. In the diagnostic analysis, the next paper is related with the brain metastasis. So the authors in this paper have used 3 different tools, namely RPA, BSBM, and GPA. And they found that recursive partitioning analysis was the best among these 3 methods in stratifying patients' prognosis with brain metastasis in their study population. Next paper is related with the diabetes, identification of a diabetes, and the authors of this paper have presented experimental evaluation with recursive partitioning algorithm for improving the accuracy in diabetes prediction at an early phase of life. And they have used a random forest method in their paper. Next paper is related with recursive partitioning analysis for predicting outcome in newly diagnosed glioblastomas. So the authors have undertaken a study to predict the prognosis of patients with glioblastomas using recursive partitioning analysis by combining molecular parameters and clinical factors. So they have used RPART method, which is the implementation of CART algorithm in R. The next paper is related with the recursive partitioning analysis of lymph node ratio in breast cancer patients. So the authors have chosen classification and regression tree in this, and they have worked on 11,349 patients, and they found 4 prognostic factors. The next paper is related with the RPA of patients with colorectal adenocarcinoma treated with colorectal resection. Now, in this study, they included 10,494 patients which are diagnosed with colorectal adenocarcinoma who have undergone colorectal resection from Taiwan Cancer Database. And the findings of this study is the identification of 6 prognosis factors for cancer-specific survival, which results in 7 terminal nodes. And they have used CART method in their paper. The next is related with the prediction of influenza in primary care patients, and the authors have used CART model to evaluate probabilities of influenza. And the authors have found that CART is good in identification of a group of individuals not requiring testing or antivirals and had predictive influenza in the range from fair to good. The next area that we refer is insurance sector, and this the paper is related with the insurance claims. And in this paper, a data set drawn from Wisconsin local government property insurance fund is used by the authors, and they have used multivariate tree models. The next area in our review is infrastructure. In this, there is a paper that we referred is related with the prediction of deterioration of bridge deck. So in this, the authors have introduced BRP, that is binary recursive partitioning, as a method of estimation of the deterioration of bridge deck. The next area is social science or psychology. So in this first paper, the authors describe binary recursive partitioning in detail related with the psychology. The next paper in psychology is related with the math achievement test score. Now, in this paper, the authors have used 2 different models. One is a multi-level exploratory data analysis, and second is a REEM tree. So, MLEDA offers fact concerning which predictors are maximum intently related to the outcomes, and REM tree displays each specific split in the tree with sample sizes and means for the various terminal nodes. The next area is atmospheric study. So in that we have referred the papers. The first is synoptic map pattern classification using recursive partitioning and PCA. The authors have used these two methods here, and the authors say that for every climate detail and scenario reported in the research paper, the best recursive partitioning model outperformed the best unsupervised clustering model. The next is related with the uh, recursive partitioning improves paleosol proxies for rainfall. The authors reviewed and tested the role of data set size and composition on soil climate models. And in this, the authors have used regression tree and random forest. The next area of application of tree is telecommunication industry. In this, we have referred two papers. One is a churn prediction. Second is a customer behavior mining. In churn prediction, the authors have referred different methods such as CART, Quest, CHED, exhaustive CHED. And the inference of this paper is that the exhaustive CHED is more efficient than others. The second paper in telecommunication industry, that area is related with the customer behavior mining. And the authors here propose a customer behavior mining framework. And the proposed framework considers the behavior patterns of customers along with the prediction about their behavior in the future. So they have used k-means clustering, neural network, and decision tree in this in their research. The next area is the pharmaceutical sector, and in this we have referred one paper related with the drug discovery, and the authors have used RPART method. The next
So you're
area,
running out of time. Please conclude fast.
okay, madam. The next area is transportation planning, and in that there is a paper related with the route choice, and the author have used recursive partitioning model, and their finding is that RPM model is having accuracies of 71.92% as compared with the discriminate analysis having accuracy of 67.60%. In the healthcare, we have referred papers, so I will just go through it. So the first paper is related with the H1N1 pandemic and visits of the patients, and the authors have used nominal logistic regression and model-based recursive partitioning. In the second paper of cleft lip and or palate, the authors have used CAT models and decision trees. And again, in subgroup analysis, they have used model-based recursive partitioning. And with respect to the next paper, that is physical activity, so the authors have used CART method and identifying risk profiles for childhood obesity, and the authors of this paper have again used RPART. So I will go to the next area, that is fashion industry. So in that, the authors have used random partitioning. In data imputation, they have used CART, conditional inference tree, conditional random forest. And in the aging study also, there is the use of recursive partitioning. So we can see that there is a paper on identifying risk clusters for metabolic syndrome and its components, and they are using model-based recursive partitioning. Then correlates of loneliness in later life. So the authors have used regression tree. Then coming to the end, in the drug addiction, there are three papers that examining marijuana outcomes among college students, and the method used by the authors is decision tree using RP. In the drug addiction, the second paper is related with the predicting cannabis abuse screening test, and the authors have used classification tree. And in the risk factor associated with adolescent drug use, they have used many methods like discriminate analysis, decision tree, and ANN. So in the finance sector also, there are two papers that we referred. In the resource utilization, we have referred two papers. One is related with the water consumption, and second is related with the non-technical losses in power utilities. And finally, in the language processing area, we have referred a paper related with the world says disambiguation for SMEs, and the author of this paper has used C 4.5 decision tree. To conclude we have summarized our observations during this literature review in the form of table. So the algorithms and their features are mentioned, like the algorithms use is for what purpose, regression or classification, and the number of splits which are allowed in that algorithm. along with that, the terms which are used. Similarly, we have compared in among this ID3 C4.5, C5.0 and CART with respect to speed, pruning and missing values. So I thank to the organizers for giving me a chance to present the review article in front of you.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Akilesh, sir, would you like to ask something?
Yes, Abhijit, thank you
Yes.
for this very thorough research review presentation. I hope students are getting advantage and other researchers are also getting the advantage out of that. So, wondering if you have implemented this research work of any of them at your own? Yes.
Sir, I currently I have registered myself as a research student in Shivaji University, Kolhapur, sir, and my co-author is my research guide. So I have done the literature review. So I will be working in the next phase for design and development of predictive models by recursive partitioning. So this is just a starting step, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So it's a good start. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, sir. Thanks.
Okay, next is paper ID 18. Are you present? Priyanka. Paper ID 21, Ritika.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can start your presentation.
Okay, is it visible?
Yes, please start presenting the screen, and your time limit is 7 minutes, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
So how many papers are left, madam?
Other than Priyanka, I think 3 more.
Okay.
Okay, is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am. You can start.
Okay, I'm Ritika. I'm going to present on the title Research Frontiers in Sequential Pattern Mining. Sequential pattern mining, and the contents are introduction to sequential pattern mining, time interval based sequential pattern mining, utility mining, and mathematical constructs related to these domains, then objective literature review, challenges, conclusion and references. Okay, starting with introduction, data mining technique is used to analyze the data stored in databases to reveal meaningful information. One of the strategy to find information from databases or perform data mining is sequential pattern mining. Sequential pattern mining is like we find sequential patterns from database, like an example given over here, desktop comma printer. A customer who purchases desktop purchases printer. Okay, such type of sequential patterns are found from databases. I'm working on transactional databases actually, and sequential pattern mining. Mostly the patterns are found on the basis of frequency, that which patterns are occurring frequently. Okay, so frequency is one of the threshold parameter used for sequential pattern mining. It is very valuable to know the information about time also, like if a customer purchases desktop, after how much time interval a customer purchases a printer. So time is also a very important parameter. So there are few articles which are concerned to time interval pattern mining. Next, we have utility mining. Utility mining, in this case, we do not find patterns on the basis of frequency. We actually mine the patterns on the basis of profit. Like while we are doing some shopping on e-commerce websites, we are given recommendations that you may like these products. These are actually patterns which are mined on the past history of the customers, and then new pattern is suggested to a customer that if in case if you are buying this, you may also further like to buy another item. So utility mining is also a type of sequential pattern mining. Here the company or the decision makers mine recommends those patterns which give maximum profit to the company. So the threshold parameter here is utility instead of frequency, and these are few mathematical constructs. In this case, database is represented as number of sequences. Every sequence has the pattern like an item, then the time of purchase of item, and then quantity. Okay, for example, customer purchases item x1 at time t1 with a quantity q1. Later he or she purchases x2 at time t2 with a quantity q2. And next is sequence, we make item sets from items, and those item sets are used to form a sequence. Support, as I already told, frequency of occurrence of items is taken as threshold. The threshold is known as support. Utility is how much profit the item gives, and it depends upon internal as well as external utility. Okay. And objectives, this paper presents an overview of various research articles in sequential pattern mining, okay, in three domains: traditional sequential pattern mining, time interval sequential pattern mining, and utility mining. There is also a discussion of future research prospects in these areas. Okay, starting with traditional sequential pattern mining. The concept of sequential pattern mining was proposed in 1995 by Rakesh Agarwal and Srikant. These algorithms were based on a priori property, and after this, pattern growth methodology, which is proven to be effective as compared to a priori methods, come into action. Okay, in this free span and prefix span, these are two very popular pattern growth algorithms which actually work on divide and conquer strategy. Okay, and we can also have constraints like minimum time gap or maximum time gap. So this article in 2002 presents various constraints which can be included in sequential pattern mining. And this DLISP algorithm, the second one, DLISP algorithm presents a constraint based approach in which minimum and maximum time gap is considered. And this is also a constraint based sequential pattern mining algorithm in which we mine the patterns by considering the minimum time probability constraint. That what is the probability that there is a minimum probability threshold taken, how much is the probability of buying the second item within a time gap. Time interval based sequential pattern mining. This type of pattern is like desktop I1 printer. A customer buys desktop, and after a time interval of I1, the customer purchases a printer. Such type of patterns are called time interval based patterns. And this concept was given in the year 2003 for discovering time interval sequential patterns. In this paper, two algorithms, a priori and I prefix span algorithm, were proposed, and then fuzzification of time, like instead of writing desktop I1 printer, if I would write desktop short printer, then that is better as it is more natural. So it indicates a customer who buys a desktop after a short interval buys a printer. Such type of pattern is a fuzzy pattern. So fuzzification can also be performed on time parameter as well as quantity parameter. And this is a survey article, Sequential Pattern Mining by Pattern Growth. It discusses various principles and extensions in the field of pattern mining. Mining multi-level time interval sequential patterns. This article finds the multi-level time interval among all the pairs of items. Okay. Here only I have included some important research related to these areas. You can find the more details in the article. And utility mining, the foundational mathematical model of utility mining was proposed in 2004. And in the case of utility mining, we have one problem that we cannot implement the a priori property. A priori property is like, in case if we find a pattern of two items, okay, it is not necessary that the sub items are also of high utility. In case if we break that pattern, the sub items may not be of high utility. This is known as downward closure property. Such type of property is contained in sequential pattern mining algorithms, but high utility mining doesn't preserve this property. So we need to define additional properties, and the researchers who are working in the domain of utility mining, they propose some additional properties to preserve the downward closure property. Here in the first article, foundational approach, the researchers proposed utility bound and support bound property. Later, a two-phase algorithm was proposed in which transaction weighted downward closure property was used. Okay, and these are the first one is a tree-based algorithm. We can also have a tree-based pattern mining algorithm in which a tree-based structure is used. In this tree-based structure, we can apply various pruning strategies to reduce the number of candidates, which will ultimately result in lesser execution time. Next is mining for high fuzzy utility sequential patterns. This is fuzzification, application of fuzzy theory in utility mining. Okay, as I already discussed, fuzzification allows to express the terms in linguistic manner. So here also fuzzification of utility is performed. Survey on high utility oriented sequential pattern mining. This survey in 2013 suggested hybridization of constraints, that we can apply more than one or two constraints in mining. We have already developed an article on this hybridization of constraints. And see here, profit-based modified I prefix span algorithm. This algorithm performs time interval sequential pattern mining along with profit parameter. These are few hybrid algorithms. See, considering high utilities for time interval sequential pattern mining, in this article they have performed hybridization of time and utility, mining discriminative high utility patterns. In this, the authors have combined utility with frequency affinity. An efficient algorithm for extracting high utility hierarchical sequential patterns. In this case, they have analyzed the hierarchical relationship among items. And this article, Ritika and Sunil Kumar Gupta, this is our article which we have published in Springer. This is also a hybrid algorithm. Hybrid algorithm considering three constraints: time, utility, and support. This is a taxonomy of sequential pattern mining algorithms, which is divided into various categories. And these are few challenges in the field of sequential pattern mining: handling uncertain data, uncertain, unstructured, heterogeneous data, defining new constraints, imposing multiple constraints, effective pruning strategies. These can be implemented via tree structure also, real-time results. And now coming to the conclusion, in this paper we have tried to present an introduction classification of the research in the various diversified domains of sequential pattern mining. A taxonomy is presented, and although this field is progressing day by day, but still there are chances of further research, and some research challenges have also been presented so that researchers can take up this in future. And these are the references. And thank you. Any question?
Akilesh sir, any questions from your side?
Yeah, it is fine. If anybody else is having any question, then they can ask.
Okay. Anyone want to ask any question?
Yes, ma'am. Can I ask a question?
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah, it was really a good session given by the author. Actually, I would like to ask one question. What is the future work you are having in your mind? What is the setup we have just discussed about it? So, what exactly you are
Actually,
looking for? Yes.
excuse me.
Yes, yes, please continue.
Actually, we are designing a hybrid algorithm. Like, there are various. 1 minute.
Ritika, can you turn on your video?
Yes, ma'am. Sure. Actually, we are designing an algorithm for hybridization of constraints. Pattern mining is applied, okay, to find patterns based on some threshold parameters. More earlier threshold was frequency, then utility, and we have developed an algorithm which considered three parameters: frequency, utility, and time. And now we are in process of writing an article having fuzzification of these three parameters in pattern mining. So in case if anyone wants to work in the field of pattern mining, there can be research on hybridization also, hybridization of constraints in pattern mining.
Okay, Ritika,
Ritika, can you tell me like how the threshold value you selected for all these parameter estimation?
Threshold we have selected in advance. Actually, our motive is to mine patterns on the basis of threshold. Threshold, we are assuming a value as threshold, and then we are mining the patterns.
So any specific criteria to choose this threshold value? Or randomly you are
Sorry.
selecting?
Yes, sir. We are selecting randomly.
Okay, great. Okay.
Okay, next is paper ID 18.
Good
Priyanka?
afternoon.
Yes. Saida, good afternoon. You
Yes.
can continue.
Yes.
Please turn on your video and share the screen. Saida, are you there?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So you have 7 minutes for presentation.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Share screen.
Your screen is not visible actually.
Yes, ma'am. Just a second. Okay. This.
Arpit and Romit are not present, isn't it? Okay. So next is
Yeah,
Viren Tiwari, paper ID 25. Please be ready.
just a second, ma'am. Not full screen. A window. Yeah. Share.
I think
Is it visible?
No, not now. Yeah. Yes. Now it's visible.
Okay. Good afternoon. I, Sayyeda Firasat and Priyanka, we are going to present the paper that is real time.
The presentation is not yet visible.
Okay.
Yes, now it's visible. Now it's visible.
Just a second.
Okay, now you can start.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. It is me and Priyanka. We are presenting to you on real-time image recognition and video analysis using deep learning for Aurangabad Smart City. The entire paper, this paper brings to you the real-time data that has been tested on the Indian roads and the Indian cities. So we have developed a GUI like this at our University National Institute of Electronics and Information Technology at Aurangabad as a part of our MTech project under the guidance of our project guide, Saurabh Bansod. And this project was also sponsored by Aurangabad Municipal Corporation. So as the introduction goes, the paper is aimed to study the effect of digital intervention within smart cities at Aurangabad. Urbanization has led to dense urban activities like increase in pedestrian traffic, private vehicular movement, and passenger good carriers. As Aurangabad has been nominated as one of the smart cities under the Smart Cities Mission of India, integration of various technologies was aimed towards sustainable growth of Indian cities in one of the smart city missions. So taking that as a prelude, we came to know that smart city today incorporates IoT based system. There is a huge amount of data that is traveling on the servers. As the city has deployed 700 plus cameras within the corporation limit, the entire live video stream and the still images that that are collected at the data center, the entire data is getting unanalyzed at the analyst post. Hence, the corporation approached us to basically identify local technology wherein we could assist them by defining various models for forecasting, efficient decision making, and defining strategy by assessing the data that is being accumulated from the 700 servers, 700 CCTV cameras. Thus, by applying deep learning algorithm, the server with automatically trained models, we were able to analyze the images and the live video streams just to generate a segregate or a pop-up details of a query that is generated.
Please change your slide.
Yeah. So the basic problem statement that comes is with 700 cameras and hardly any data analysis that is being done for monitoring, a child getting lost or an old age person getting lost in such a dense urban scenario is a problem. Also, there are a number of accidents that happen. Hence, identifying the direction of collision was a problem for police people to investigate. As a lot of real-time data is coming to the analyst post for analysis, there are effects of human fatigue, data sorting delay, and incident reporting delay. To remove these problems, our objective was to come up with the still image identification for theft detection, as well as video analysis for wrong vehicle direction. As I told you, this project is sponsored by Aurangabad Smart City Development Corporation. This is the letter of sponsorship. The literature survey, Priyanka will take over from here. Yeah, hello, ma'am. I'm Priyanka here.
Yes, Priyanka.
In our
Please change the slides. You people are not changing the slides. It is fixed.
No, ma'am. We are doing it continuously. I guess are you able to see the literature survey?
No, I can just see the first slide only. I don't know what about other. Yes, I can see now the literature review. Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah. In our field survey, what we did, the field survey was undertaken to understand the type of cameras, which type of camera we are using in our Aurangabad city, the effect of local environment conditions, and the output format. That is, we are using this PTZ cameras, that is the pan tilt zoom camera, with focal length between 100 meters to 300 meters with the fixed IP box cameras. For that, we have to find out some features also, in which conditions they are working, or whatever the scenario we are taking from that cameras, that is the angle of inclination, effect of light, and in some night vision capability also there. So we have to find that. Due to lower bandwidth and drains, the live stream has a blurring effect. These are all the challenges we have to face. As well as we did some road surveys also. In India, the traffic is heterogeneous. Okay. And it comprises cars, bus, trucks, motorbikes also. Okay. And for this face recognition technique, we are using MTCNN algorithm, which is capable of changing the FPI based on the requirement from 5 to 30 FPS, that is frames per seconds. And whatever the image input we are taking, we are giving the image output at the analyst post, which is available at, that person is sitting in the server room, and that output image is getting in the form of a JPG, JPEG, and MKV formats, which is having the 96 DPI. With the bit depth of 24 and the resolution of a 1920 by 1080 pixels. Yeah, these are the current scenario of our Aurangabad smart cities roads. These are the feeds which are taken from the command center cameras where they have located. Old city congestion. In this, we can see old city areas as well as new city areas. This, ma'am, you are seeing this arrow? Your cursor you are seeing? Hello? Are we audible? Are we audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll just explain it. If you see the photograph, the four pictures, the picture to the left is the old city. There is hardly any divider, any road segmentation. The width of the road is very less, and there is no traffic rule that is followed. If you see the topmost picture on the right, you will find there is a proper segmentation on the road, as well as the picture that is left to the down left. That's the new city roads. The roads are quite wide. They are well illuminated, but there is a problem because of widening of road. Elderly people and children find it very difficult to cross the road. That's just one of the reasons why accidents are more happening in the both in the new city as well as old city. Okay. Yeah. Whatever we have observed in our survey between the old city and new city. As my colleague says that it is very difficult to cross the children and old age person. There are the possibility of the accidents also. It is so we have classified there in three parts, whatever the accidents are happening, even which shows the death on the spot or within the 24 hours, and it is happens mostly due in between the office time, which is 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., which is the office time, wherever the traffic is at the peak level. A2 is for the injured people, means which is a severe injury within the 24 hours, and A3 which shows the no death, but there is should be the property damage, or the means car get damaged and the vehicle get damaged. Yeah. What happened in India, the traffic is heterogeneous. In Aurangabad particularly, the traffic is heterogeneous. It comprises cars, buses, trucks, and what we are doing, a deep learning based system for extracting the vehicle's position to predict vehicle collision using a video stream, which is we are getting from the command center as per the report of the road accidents in Maharashtra. In last 2018-19, has the 12,788 deaths we have noticed. As per the report, human error triggered, these accidents are due to the human triggered error, which is 80% of the fatalities. Tragically, majority of all roads accidents fatalities that occur in India impact the economically weaker sections of our society, and the 70% constitutes a combination of pedestrian, two-wheeler riders and the cyclist. And what are the primary causes for that? Accidents are the rash driving, overspeeding, traffic signal violations, as well as the drunken driving. There are some environmental risk factors also involved in this. Some poor lighting, poor construction, bad design, use of a low quality material in the road making, as well as the ditches and the potholes also contributes to the road traffic accidents. So for that, we have come up with the this all are the survey reports we have got from the Aurangabad Commissioner Office Smart City brochures. Yeah, these all are the survey reports of the road accidents in 2018. Yeah, these are the number of accidents we have listed out according to the city and the rural areas, which is of a two-wheeler, four-wheeler included. Yeah, now we are after this survey, we have come up with the solution. If we did the face recognition by using MTCNN network or the machine learning, we will find out the these two solutions for the face recognition, in which we are showing that if any child get lost and the old age person get missed, we are using face recognition for that. And if any accident happens due to the wrong vehicle direction, so we are to determining the direction of the motion, we are using this machine learning technology. So
okay, we are running out of time. Please conclude fast.
Yeah, we are using this research methodology. Ma'am, the research methodology was when an image is presented, the image should be recognized, analyzed, and the important parameters, that is the parameters of eyes, nose, and face, like two eyes and the facial jawline were identified. The comparison was done between computer vision and AI vision, and different algorithm, that is MTCNN algorithm, was applied to it, and then the coding language was done. The task ahead was identifying, like understanding the OpenCV and implementation of the algorithm that suited us. So the tools used for us was Anaconda, Jupyter Notebook, Spider Code, OpenCV, and the system configuration was i5 generation and RAM, and the other details are there. Based on that, the camera parameters, the drone and the PTZ cameras are installed in the city with a focal length of 100 to 300 meters. In the face recognition algorithm, once the image is presented, the face detection is done, the model processes the image, and in the image processing part, the model actually resizes, filters, and transforms the image. In the segmentation, the image segmentation is done, and during post-processing, both the model is encoded, that is through neural network for numerical processing. The face recognition after pre-processing, we also check the output with the HARP, DLIP, and MTCNN. The best results that we got was from the MTCNN model. The input that we had given was 96 DPI images with a depth of 120, resolution of 120 and 180. So the face comparison was done and the face identification of the local still images was done. After face recognition, like image recognition, the model was presented for extracting the features. Here is a mathematical model. Because of time constraint, I'll just run through it. This is the formula through which the binary ones and zeros and the numeric value is calculated. It is same as in any image processing. After that, the deep learning algorithm YOLO3 model was used for modeling the image for a vehicle detection. In this, at the convolution neural network, the image was presented. During pooling, the image was pulled to a multiplication factor of 3. Again, through another convolution neural network, the image was compressed and evaluated. And through an automatically fully connected network, we used to get within 2 seconds the collision frames. The comparison between HARP, DLIP, and MTCNN model is like the frame rate of a HARP is 9.25. Gave worst results when the test went along and could detect 479 frames. The DLIP 541 FPS, and the DLIP and MTCNN have similar result, but have a slight MTCNN, it has a higher, slight edge over MTCNN. MTCNN gave a result was frame of 7.92 FPS, and DLIP cannot identify small faces. The DNN module of gave us 12.95 FPS. The works best for occlusions, quick head movements, and can identify faces over 30 degrees angle. The data that was given to that is from the server room was basically images in JPEG, JPG. Detection time that our model was trained was for 2 minutes. The training time was 20 days, in which training data was 420 images and testing data was 100 images.
I think the time is up, so you can conclude now.
Okay. Right. The challenges that we faced were alignment detection was very critical. These were false alarms, and we would conclude that Indian roads have, like the conclusion is, deep learning model when applied for image processing can give extraction of features of an image. MTCNN model was implemented to evaluate the accuracy in finding lost person. Available data sets were trained, and the solution both MTCNN and a YOLO3 model can find its best application for Indian smart cities for application on server rooms.
Okay. So would you like to ask any question?
Yes, okay, no problem.
Okay. So next is Virendra, paper ID 25. Saida, please stop presenting the screen.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you for allowing me. Can I present the screen, ma'am?
Yes, yes. Please take care of the time. You are giving. We are giving actually 7 minutes only for presentation, but you are taking much more time.
That option is not visible at my side of sharing the screen. Yes, I got it now.
Okay, so this is actually our today's last presentation. After this, we are going to conclude our today's session.
Is it visible, ma'am, my screen?
Yes, sir, yes.
My slide is visible, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Virendra, and I have got the opportunity to present my paper in the international conference TEETAS-2022. And first of all, I would like to thank my guide. Under his guidance, I could prepare this paper and able to present this presentation. And my topic is optimizing fuzzy adaptive based meta-heuristic ABC to detect
malicious node to improve the performance of wireless sensor network. So, like we have organs in our body, and similarly, we can say in the field of artificial intelligence, we use different sensors. And without sensor, we cannot imagine the world of artificial intelligence. So this topic is very relevant to this conference. And these are the contents of my presentation: introduction, objectives, literature review, research methodology, results and discussion, conclusion, and number of references I have used. So first of all, I would like to introduce my topic. So wireless sensor network, as we know, it is one of the most promising and emerging fields in nowadays. It is being used almost in all the fields, whether it is about medical science or surveillance or any other, I mean, tuning side of technology. We are not untouched as a wireless sensor network technology. But at the same time, we cannot deny the issues that what we get when we use wireless sensor network. Uh, Particularly security. Security we find one of the most uh, difficult issues related to wireless sensor network, because sometimes there are a lot of different types of security issues. I have found malicious node is one of the most dangerous and difficult part to deal in wireless sensor network, because what malicious attack does, it lets your network compromise, and any node may sacrifice the network by denying to transfer the packet, or it may show like it is the best available route to communicate with any other node. So to avoid such kind of situation, we have used the concept of clustering, which is basically based on state fuzzy adaptive differential evolution, and we are using the concept of fuzzy to divide the network into clusters and to communicate among the clusters and different clusters. We are using the ABC algorithm, so we can optimize the communication path between intercluster, right? And the objectives of developing working on this field is that we can design a wireless sensor network in a way where we can have a safe setup, so we can balance the consumption of energy, which can give the sort of guarantee, like in wireless sensor network, whenever any node is trying to communicate with base station or any other node, so there should be a higher chances of security. So for that, this is the methodology which we are proposing. In this methodology, we are using the concept of CRV, composite reputation value. Here we are designing the cluster in a way that we will be having three categories of node. First one would be cluster head, which will be designed, which will be chosen by using energy model. Energy, then we have used different articles. So for that, I have used for composite reputation value. It is basically an article given by one of the renowned researchers, uh, Hayes Root. So he has proposed one paper where he is using the concept of composite reputation value to choose the optimal cluster head. So that's what we have used here on the basis of energy level. And what is the rate of forwarding any message or packet? And when it comes about communicating with other nodes, so we are using here ABC algorithm. So any cluster head can communicate with any other member node or any other cluster head. And one more thing here we have included the monitor node, and that monitor node can be here we are using as an alternative of cluster head in any situation. Suppose if cluster head is being uh, treated as a malicious or it is hijacked, so that immediately our monitor node can replace the cluster head and vice versa. So in this way, we can use the energy level, and we can optimize the energy level to improve the balancing in our wireless sensor network. This is the flow chart of working. Here we are using the concept of CRV and how we are using the concept of ABC. Uh, okay, for that, actually I have reviewed number of literatures. Some of the prominent literatures I have included here. Like as you can say, I have just said, uh, security mechanism for cluster-based wireless sensor network against selective fraudulent, which is
So
given
you
by
can
based on.
directly go to your work, skipping the review part.
Okay. So, if I say about result and inspection, so here we have used NH2 to simulate our work, and we have used certain parameters, which is already shown in the table. And the number of parameters which I had used to compare with other protocols already available in this field. The promising some methods are like lead, ODV, and heat. So these are the protocols which I have compared with, and I have compared certain parameters like jitter analysis, which can suffer your wireless sensor network. So here you can see I have used a number of nodes, 100, 200, 300, 400. As you can see, the proposed work is having the lowest jitter, so which is good for the wireless sensor network. And if you see end-to-end delay also, here I have compared our proposed work with Lee, ODD. Here also you can see that our proposed work is showing the prominent results. And even throughput, where we are delivering the number of packets. As you can see, number of packet transmission in a particular time frame. Our proposed work is showing the better result if we compare with other protocols. Similarly, if we say energy consumption done by a sender or receiver, both are showing. In the both the field, we can say that the lowest consumption of energy done by our proposed work, right? So we can conclude that our work in wireless sensor network can bring most secure environment where we can have the uh, optimal solution in terms of jitter, in terms of energy consumption, or even there is a sort of guarantee like if we are sending a message packet, so the chances of receiving by the base station or any other node are higher. So this is the basically event, and we will use a number of references. Over here.
Okay. Akhilesh, sir, would you like to ask any question?
Yes, Virenji, some observations are there. Like in the result section, you have not highlighted the access names. Are you working somewhere, or you are doing PhD like that?
Yes, sir. For the first scholarship.
Okay, okay. So this is a suggestion like please mention the axis name, y-axis and the x-axis and how your throughput has been calculated out of these. So these things you need to mention. And methodology has to be explained using one Venn diagram. That would be better if you incorporate. So these are some of the observations. So can you tell me in this throughput calculation, what is the y-axis?
It's actually time sensor.
Okay. Time, and what is the x-axis?
So the number of nodes. Yeah. If we are using 100 nodes, then how they are performing our setup in 200, in 300, and so on. How is the performance of our setup in terms of our timing?
Okay, okay, fine, fine. Thank you.
Okay. So now before terminating our today's technical session, I would like to express my gratitude to Akhilesh sir for giving his precious time. And I would also like to thank all of our participants for making the session fruitful. Last but not the least, I am very much thankful to all the members of CSI Jabalpur chapter and Department of Computer Science, AKS University, for supporting this event wholeheartedly. Thank you, all of you.
Yes, thank you, madam, to you too, for wonderfully conducting the session. And I hope all the researchers and the scholars has got tremendous amount of knowledge out of the session. So thank you all of you, and bye bye.
Okay, so thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, madam.
Now you can quit. Thank you.